I'm gonna draw these red dots to represent a circular trajectory. So imagine some mass M moving around in that circle. And so I'm going to put at the center of the circle a black dot. We're going to call that the axis of rotation. So picture that we have some motion going in this direction around the circle. So we're going in a counterclockwise direction. Now, it can be intimidating at first when you have problems that deal with rotation because it seems like you've got like all these different symbols and equations that you have to learn. But the point of this video is to show that you've actually already done most of the learning. What you need to do is just take what is ostensibly a circular motion and just figure out, well, how much linear distance is covered in that circular motion. So more specifically, imagine when you have a circular motion, you have some radius r in which your object doing the circular motion is away from the axis of rotation. And so at some later time, you can imagine the object is up here. And so what we say is that some angle theta has been rotated to get from the first point to the second point in the circular trajectory. So again, it looks like it's different than linear motion, but really that green that I just drew in there, yeah, it's bent, but imagine just taking that green piece and just stretching it out. It's some distance that's been traveled when you sweep an angle theta. And so here's the thing, if we just figure out, well, for a given angle theta that's swept out in circular motion, how much linear distance is covered, we can make that conversion, and then we can use all of the linear equations for constant acceleration that we have used previously. And so here's the key. To figure out how much distance that green is for some angle theta, that's the arc length of the circle for some angle theta that's been swept out. And this green, that is going to be equal to r multiplied by theta. And so in the linear equation, say when we're working in the horizontal direction, this would be equivalent to x in the horizontal direction in the linear sense. And so I want to show you, if we go back to the original linear equations for motion, when you've got constant acceleration, that we've already done most of the work here. And we just need to apply this r theta conversion. So for instance, this equation might look familiar. You have some position x is equal to some initial velocity v naught multiplied by the time that elapsed plus 1/2 the acceleration t squared. And so let's say that we want to talk about the position in circular trajectory for some angle theta that has been swept out. So what I would do is I would simply take this conversion and I would plug it in right here. And so let's go ahead and do that. Let's put in r theta. And so we'll keep transforming this equation. So you see how there's a theta that's swept with the circle. So remember when we say position and we equate that to r theta, we also have the notion of velocity v in the linear sense, and that's equal to the change in position over the change in time. But I can then, because I have the x is equivalent to r theta, I can say that the velocity is equal to the change in r theta over the change in time. And for uniform circular motion, r is constant. So I can bring that r out and I can just say that it's r delta theta delta t. And so this term right here, delta theta delta t, this is what's known as omega when you're dealing with the rotation. And in other words, we have a sense of distance that's been covered, but then we also have a sense of how much that distance in the circular motion is changing over time. That's omega, and we call that the angular velocity. So omega is the angular velocity. And so the velocity, so let's go back to our linear equation. We can make the substitution that the velocity in the linear sense is equal to r times omega in the rotational sense multiplied by t. And so we have one more term that we need to transform. So when it comes to the linear notion of acceleration, we learn that that is the change in velocity over the change in time. Well, we just learned that in the rotational sense, the velocity is r omega. So this is the change in r omega over the change in time. And again, with uniform circular motion, that r, which is the radius from the axis of rotation to the periphery where the circular trajectory is taking place, that is constant. So that's equal to r times the change in omega over the change in time. And so this term we call alpha, which is the angular acceleration. So this is the rotational analog to acceleration in the linear sense. And so acceleration in the linear sense is equal to r times alpha. So now I can finish off my transformation. So going back, I have 1/2, and now I'm going to put my transformation for acceleration. This is going to be r alpha multiplied by t squared. And so look at how there's this constant radius r in each of these terms. And so if I was to divide by r, so when you have an algebraic expression, if you do something to one term, you have to be consistent and do it to the other terms as well. So if I just decided I was going to divide by r, then if I divided by r here, divided by r here, divided by r here, those terms would go to 1. They cancel out. And so look at the blue equation and the green equation. Where you see an x, you see a theta in the green equation. Where you see a v, you see omega in the green equation. And technically, I should put an omega 0 here. Where you see a blue a, you see a green alpha. And so here is your legend. And this is how you can just build off of what you know about linear motion to make the transition to circular motion. Essentially, when it comes to these equations, anywhere you see a theta, and let me start the other way. Anywhere that you see an x, right, some distance. Now, granted, this could be y, this could be s, whatever your nomenclature is, right? But just whatever your position, right, where the units are SI meters. What you would do is you would make the transformation to theta. So wherever you see the x in linear equations, you put a theta if you're dealing with rotational motion. Wherever you see a v for velocity with the linear equations, now what you're going to put is omega for angular velocity. And whenever you see the letter a for acceleration in the linear equations, now you're going to put alpha. So let me give you another example. So let's say that we have the equation V final equals V initial plus AT. So this is the equation that we learned for how to calculate the final velocity if the acceleration is constant and a certain amount of time elapses. And so I'm just going to use my red legend to make the transformation. Wherever I see V, I put omega. And remember, look at the bottom and see how the R term is constant in each of the terms, and so it cancels out. And that's why you can just directly go X to theta, V to omega, and A to alpha. And so to make the transformation now, I see a V final. Well, V final is going to be omega final. I see a V initial. That's going to be omega initial. I see an A. That's going to be an alpha T. So let me do one more. We also have, for constant acceleration, the relationship that you have V final squared equals V initial squared plus 2AX. So here's one where we have all three of the variables that we need to make the transformation. So I see a V final. Well, that's going to be now omega final squared. And I see a V naught. That's the initial velocity. Well, I'm going to call that omega naught squared. And then I see an A. And so I know for A, I put an alpha. And I see an X. For X, I now put in theta. And so I hope you can see that you've actually done most of the learning already when you were dealing with linear motion. The key is understanding that for a certain angle theta that's swept out in circular motion, that corresponds to an arc length of r theta, which is the amount of angle that's swept multiplied by the distance of the radius from the axis of rotation to where the circular motion is taking place. Once you make that conversion, you can then figure out the rotational analogs for position and for the change in position and the change in time, and for the change in position over change in time's change in time. It's the same concept as going from position to velocity to acceleration. And so in making the transformation, we now talk about the angle, then we talk about the angular velocity, and then we talk about the angular acceleration. So the angle is theta, the angular velocity, we're going to talk about omega, and the angular acceleration, we're going to talk about alpha.